Hey, hey, what do you say? You want to see me work with some clay today? Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's John, and I was going to show you a little bit about how this model's coming along and doing some of the seams using epoxy clay. What I have here is Ave's epoxy clay, one of the products I use sometimes. It's got two parts, a white and a dark. You mix them together. I'll show you that in a minute. Also has this stuff here. It's a safety solvent that helps soften it up, blend, kind of feather the edges. I've got tools I use. I have a number of other tools that I use for clay, but I kind of like to use the wooden ones because the clay doesn't stick to them quite as badly. And for the job I'm doing, I'm going to use a kind of a pointy stick one that sort of is kind of blunt, and one that has a kind of a spatula-like tip that I can sort of dig into and smooth out. I also will have a couple crappy brushes, ones that I don't use really for painting pictures or anything, but stuff I don't really care about, to help me blend and feather some of the areas. Another thing I do that might be of interest to you is sometimes I make too much clay and it is going to dry and not be any good. So what I'll do in those cases, sometimes I'll take some pencils or maybe even a paintbrush like I did here, and I'll put a glob of the clay on the end of it, and then I'll go to one of my other models or something that I like the texture on, and while it's wet I'll just kind of make an impression and see how it looks, maybe do it a couple times till I get what I like, and then later after it dries and I'm doing something like this, I can just add that texture to the wet clay that I'm working on for the next job. And so I also do the same kind of thing. Maybe you can see the texture on this. This isn't something I use for this model, but I'm using this texture for a sea serpent I'm making. But right now I'm going to just open this clay up. You have the white. This stuff is pretty sticky, and I don't need too much for what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take a little pinch of it, roll it into a ball, and set it down, and I take a pinch of the other stuff, roll it into a similar sized ball, and the key is to get equal parts of each. And so I will compare my balls and see if they're about the same size. Looks like the darker stuff is a little bit bigger. I want to keep them pretty much the same size, so if you don't get the mix close enough, it doesn't cure right. So I got my clay, and I'm going to roll up a little bit to put in this crack here. Show you what I'm doing. Can you see the crack? Yeah. So I want to fill that up, and I don't want to just fill it up. I want it to look like there wasn't really a seam there, but it is a shoulder joint, so it's okay if it shows something. So let's press that into the area. And what I did yesterday when I was working on this is I did underneath because it's harder to get to and more awkward. For this video I wanted to do something that maybe you can kind of see my working. Let's see. that right there. And I think it needs a little more in there. Just kind of press it into place. And I got just a little bit left. I'm not sure where I'm going to want to use it. But what I'm going to do is I want to fill that seam a little bit. So I'm going to take a tool and press it in to the crack. That'll fill it up and it'll help it bond even better than the super glue did. Because if you remember when I was gluing these on earlier, I had some pretty big gaps deep inside on this, and so I want to kind of fill those up. And I did a lot of that when I was doing some of the clay work yesterday. Alright. So I pushed some of that in. I'm going to put a little bit more right there where I pushed it in. Working with clay. Alright. Now, I'm going to use this tool and try to, where there's different textures, I want to try to blend it and continue it so it doesn't look like it's been interrupted by the crack. And here there's quite a bit of texture that is, I don't know, marbly looking. I'll let you look closer at it in a minute. I'll use this tool now. Just sort of blend those spots where I kind of stuck two pieces together. And there's like an area here where there's a ridge. I'm going to continue that ridge right across here, just like it. Just look for things like that you can try to make sure it continues that way. Well, yeah, I talked about using these texture things. I got this one here. It's got kind of a bumpy texture. I'm going to just hit it in a couple spots just to give it a little bit of random texture. And I like this one too. It's got little tiny bumps on it. Particularly I want it right in here to do that. And they kind of sit on top of each other. Let me show you what I got so far. This is what I was working on. This is the side that I did before. I'm going to take this stuff, the safety solvent, put some in a little cup. I'm going to use a paintbrush. I'm going to blend the edges. Try to make it so that you can't see where I stopped and started with the clay. It takes practice, but yeah, it's looking better already. Yeah. And I'll do more texturing on this model. There's some areas I want to add some. So it won't look like the sculptor did this here and John Legrand did this here. Just kind of make it look indistinguishable. Some areas I'll have a little bit more texture, some areas I'll let it be smoother, just like the sculptor did. And I tell you, I am really loving this model, this sculpt, the more I work with it. It's really cool, I think. Okay. Well, I'll be working more on these other seams on the tail, and next time we'll go ahead and get this modeling paste out, and we'll go around on the fins. Like I said before, I am waiting for a second head to come in, but I'm really liking this model, and this head might be alright. Maybe I'll just go with it. Put that guy on there. Let me know if you think I should wait or not. And while I'm at it, I want to give a shout out to a new cute and cool friend, Lissa. I don't know if this video is really Lissa worthy, but hey to you, Lissa, and of course I want to say hello to my BFF/OS, Herlinda. And so haven't actually spoken it for a while, but you know, Herlinda, you'll always find some reference to you in my videos because I promised I'd do that, and I always will. So that's about it. Thanks for being with me while I'm working the clay, and see you next time. Bye.